question talks about a dance competition where we have four dancers, Princess, Queen, Rani and Samragni. And we have four composers, Asman, Badal, Gagan and Dew. And we are told that the composers assigned items to the dancers, and each dancer had to individually perform in two dance items assigned by the different composers. So each of the dancers performs in two items, means there are four dancers. So 4 into 2, there will be 8 dance sequences. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are next told that the first items performed by the four dancers were all assigned by different music composers. So which means the first four can be A, B, G, D, or A, G, D, B, or B, G, A, D. So anything. So but they will be different. So this is what it means. The next clue says no dancer performed a second item before the performance of the first item by any of the other dancers. So this means that PQRS finishes their first round and then they come and perform the next round, and the order is not yet known. The next one says the dancers perform their second items in the same sequence of performance of their first items. So if the first four sequence was PQRS, then the second sequence will also be PQRS. This is an important clue. So first and second sequences will be in the same order. Now let's see the other clues. The first one says no composer who assigned item to Princess assigned any item to Queen. So P and Q had no composer in common. Similarly, the second clue says no composer who assigned item to Rani assigned any item to Samragni. So R and S had no composer in common. The third clue says the first performance was by Princess and this item was assigned by Badal. So let's put that in. So first was Princess, composer was Badal. The last performance was by Rani and was assigned by Gagan. So last performance is by Rani and composer is Gagan. And we know that they will perform in the same sequence. So the first four will be performed by the four dancers, and then they will follow the next round in the same sequence. So P has performed in the first sequence, so P will again perform in the fifth sequence. Similarly, R has performed in the eighth sequence, so R will perform in the last sequence in the first round as well. So next it says that the items assigned by Asman were performed consecutively. So which means the two items assigned by Asman will come one after the other. And it also says that the number of performances between items assigned by each of the remaining composers was the same. So which means B, D and G will have the same number of performances in between two of their performances. So which means that if B had composed the first performance and he composes the third one, then there is one gap. So therefore G has to compose the sixth one, and D can compose let's say number 2 and number 4. So he will also have one gap. So G comes here, D comes here, D comes here, B comes here, and we are left with two slots, which is 5 and 7, where A can come in. But it is told that A's performances will follow one after the other. So let's see how that can happen. So let me just clear the board a little bit. So let's take A and A together. So the first possibility is that A will assign performances in slot 2 and 3. So A and A are together. But if this happens, B can only perform in slot 4, or we can assign performance in slot 4, which means that there will be a gap of 2 performances between the 2 performances assigned by B. So therefore, G also needs to have a gap of 2 performances between 2 performances assigned by G. So there will be 2 gaps. So G can assign performance number 5, and then in that case D will be left with 6 and 7, which is not possible because the gap between 2 performances of D becomes 0. So and we are told that B, D and G will have the same number of performances between 2 of their performance. So this arrangement is not possible. This combination is not possible. So what is the next possible combination? The next possible combination is A can assign number 3 and number 4, and then B can assign, he cannot assign 2 because he cannot have consecutive performances. So he can assign only slot number 5. And if that happens, then there is a gap of 1, 2, 3 performances between 2 performances of B. So there has to be a gap of 3 performances between 2 performances of G. Therefore, 1, 2, 3 gaps. So G has to come here. That means G has to assign performance number 4, which is contradictory because we are assuming this is assigned by A. So this combination is also not possible. So let's see the next option. So the next option is that A can assign performance number 4 and 5. Now if this happens, then B can assign performance number 3. So there will be a gap of 1. So G has to assign performance number 6. So there will be a gap of 1. And then D will assign performance number 2 and performance number 7, but in this case the number of performance between 2 performance of D will be 4, 3, 4, 5 and 6, which is not meeting this criteria. So B cannot assign performance number 3. So what else can be assigned? Let's see. So B can assign performance number 6. So B assigns performance number 6, which means there is a gap of 1, 2, 3 and 4 between 2 performances of B, and therefore there will be a gap of 4 between 2 performances of G. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So G will assign performance number 3, and D would be left with performance number 2 and 7. So which means there will be a gap of 1, 2, 3 and 4 between 2 performances of D. So this is a correct combination because here we are getting the 2 performances of A together. There is a gap of 1, 2, 3, 4 between 2 performances of B, and gap of 1, 2, 3 and 4 between 2 performances of G, and also gap of 4 between 2 performances of D. So this is the correct combination of performances assigned by the composers, which also meets the criteria that the first performance performed by the dancers were assigned by different music composers. So as we saw that the first 4 will be different, So here we see B, D, G and A, which are all four are different, is composing the first four performances. So we are meeting all the criteria for the composers. Now let's see the criteria for the dancers. So the criteria for the dancers says that P and Q cannot have the same composer. So let's see, B has assigned a performance to P in the first round. So B cannot assign a performance to P in the second round. Okay. Neither it can assign a performance to Q in the second round. So therefore, in slot number 6, we can have only S because P is already performed. R will perform in slot number 8. So we are left with R and we are left with Q and S. Q cannot come here, so S has to come here. So therefore, Q has to come in slot number 7. And we are also told that the order of performances in both the rounds will be same. So we see in second round it is PSQR, and in the first round it will also be PSQR. Now we just have a cross check of the other criteria that R and S will not have any composer in common. So you see in first round R is getting a performance from A, and in second round from G, and S is getting a performance from B in the second round and from D in the first round. So R and S has no composer in common, P and Q has no composer in common. The sequence of performance remains same, PSQR in both the rounds. So we are meeting all the criteria now. So this is the sequence in which the performances will happen. So now let's go to the questions. So the first question says, which of the following is true? The first option is the third performance was composed by Asman. So we can see that the third performance was composed by Gagan. So this is not correct. The second option says the second performance was composed by Dew. So we can see the second performance was indeed composed by Dew. So this is the correct option, option 2. The third option says the second performance was composed by Gagan. No, it is composed by Dew, which we have seen, so this is wrong. And the fourth option says the third performance was composed by Dew. Again, wrong, because third is composed by Gagan. So this is incorrect. So option 2 is the correct answer. Second performance was composed by Dew. Now we move to the next set, but before that let me copy this out. We need the sequence to answer. So we have the sequence here. So question number 40 says, which of the following is false? So options are, Queen did not perform in any item composed by Gagan. So Queen performed for Gagan in round 3 or the third sequence. So this statement is wrong. So therefore this is the correct answer because they're asking for the false statement. So option 1 is correct. Option 2 says Samragni did not perform in any item composed by Asman, but we can see that Samragni performed for Dew and Badal, so she did not perform in any item composed by Asman. So this is a true statement. So it is not the correct answer. The third one says Rani did not perform in any item composed by Badal, and we can see that Rani performed for Asman and Gagan. So Rani did not perform for Badal. So this is a true statement, not correct in the context of the question. And the last one says Princess did not perform in any item composed by Dew. So Princess performed for Badal and Asman, so she did not perform for Dew. So this is also true. Hence this is not correct. as per the question. So the correct option is option 1, which is a false statement that Quinn did not perform in any item composed by Gagan. We move to 41. The sixth performance was composed by, and we can see the sixth one was composed by Badal. So Badal is the correct answer. Option 2 is correct. And the last question says, which pair of performances were composed by the same composer? So the options are third and seventh. So third is by Gagan, seventh is by Dew, not correct. Second one says first and seventh. First is by Badal, seventh is by Dew, incorrect. The third option says first and sixth. First is by Badal and sixth is again by Badal. So this is the correct option, option number 3. And the last option says second and sixth. So second is by Dew and sixth is by Badal. So this is again incorrect. So the correct option is option number 3, the first and the sixth.